And good morning. This is Tomohiro Matsumoto from Tsuburaya Legal. First of all, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend this meeting. I would like to take this time to explain our history of dispute and litigation involving classic Ultraman series, and also talk about our plans in seizing infringed products in the Malaysian market. Let me start off with our Ultraman dispute and litigation history, and where we stand right now. For the Ultraman series classic works, Tsuburaya is in dispute with Mr. Somport and UN Corporation for over 20 years. UN Corporation, classic Ultraman series are these 6 works listed up on the screen right here. Ultra Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, Return of Ultraman, Ultraman Ace, and Ultraman Harold. So, who is Mr. Somport? Mr. Somport is a Thai businessman who, in 1962, while working for the Thai government-owned bank, came over to Japan to study Toho's tokusatsu under Eiji Tsuburaya, and is said to have learned special effects in Japan. After returning to Thailand in mid-1960s, he established his own production company called Chayo Production. There, he produced TV programs and movies. 3 decades later, he brought claim against Tsuburaya. Relating to our litigation in Thailand, he was convicted by a Thai criminal court for submitting false document to the court. And this false document is the 1976 document, which I will be explaining in the next page. With this conviction, Mr. Somport was sentenced to 2 years in prison with probation. Also, UMC is a Japanese company led by Mr. Somport's son, Parasite Sangunchai, which said to have acquired 1976 document from Mr. Somport and exploiting infringed Ultraman licensing activity in China and across Southeast Asia. On the screen here, you see Ultraman used in condom advertisement. And on your right is body painted and lazy-looking Ultraman in a Chinese film event. These are not the real Ultraman that people want to see. You don't see any bravery, hope, nor compassion in this Ultraman. UN parties are damaging Ultraman brand and the heroism Ultraman brings to people's heart. Next, let me explain you about the alleged 1976 document. This document was first presented to Tsuburaya from Mr. Somport in 1996, right after Noboru Tsuburaya passed away. Mr. Somport brought up claim against Tsuburaya, claiming that he has the overseas usage rights over all Ultraman works. Mr. Somport claimed that he owned all rights in Ultraman outside of Japan based on one-page contract that he asserted had been executed 20 years earlier by Tsuburaya's former president, Noboru Tsuburaya. Before Mr. Somport brought the document to Tsuburaya in 1996, no one at Tsuburaya had heard about it or seen it. We have considered this document as a fake document, as there are so many errors and suspicious points in it. Shortly after Mr. Somport made his claim, Tsuburaya and Mr. Somport began litigating over the authenticity and meaning of this document. Over the past 2 decades, courts in Thailand, Japan, China, and most recently the United States have reached different results regarding whether the document is a real contract or whether it was forged, and if it's real, what this document means. The divergent foreign judgment have kept Tsuburaya from actively exploiting Ultraman outside of Japan. As I just mentioned a while ago, this document only has 1 page of provisions. Despite this document relates to the most important asset of Tsuburaya's business operation. And there's no signature by Mr. Somport in the document. Some of the error and suspicion points are: name of a company does not exist. Here, it says Tsuburaya Prod and Entertainment Enterprise Company Limited. Our company name has always been Tsuburaya Productions Company Limited. Some of the titles of the works are not correct. We don't say Ultraman 1 for Ultra Q. We don't say Ultraman 2 for Ultraman. And we sure do not say Ultraman 7. It's of course Ultra 7. So there's so many incorrect information displayed in this one-page document. As you can see, the handwriting description on the bottom right-hand corner has purported Noboru Tsuburaya's signature. There's no signature by Mr. Sonport. If this must be an agreement by two parties, then there should be two signatures by the licensor and licensee. We can go on and on with the suspicious points to this document, but it does not state any term. Term is in period of licensing, but it just says indefinite period. It also does not state any other terms and conditions, which is always being stated in every single license agreement you see. Also, what's very odd is that this document was first presented to Tsuburaya in 1996, just after the passing of Noboru Tsuburaya, who was the president of Tsuburaya back in 1976. For such 20 years span, Tsuburaya had been exploiting Ultraman business around the world, including Mr. Sonport's home country, Thailand. But he never expressed any clear interest. And on the other hand, Mr. Sonport never exercised Ultraman exploitation between 1976 and 1996. This is very odd and unusual. Finally, but not least, signature described in the document, circled in red right here, was determined to be forged by handwriting analysis and expert in US, Thai, and Japan. Recently, in the US litigation held in 2017, jury trial was held, and 8 juries gave verdict unanimously that this 1976 document was not authentic. Authentic contract signed by Noboru Tsuburaya. In April 2018, last year, the court followed the verdict of the jury as the court ruled that this 1976 document is not authentic contract signed by Noboru Tsuburaya on behalf of Tsuburaya and or Tsuburaya Enterprise. And there's no force or effect. And during this trial, court also judged that UM has no rights to new works and that they do not possess adaptation or derivative works listed in the 1976 document. So, in conclusion, let me go over with an overview of who holds the copyrights and who has the overseas usage rights to Ultraman. Although the outcome of judgment varies in each country, the following points are in common. Copyrights to all Ultraman works and characters from classic series listed in 1976 document belong to Tsuburaya. Also, all rights in and to the works other than these 6 classic Ultraman series, from Ultraman Leo to the latest Ultraman Taiga, belong to Tsuburaya because such other works, this Leo to Taiga, do not fall within the scope of 1976 document. And as for the usage rights, in Japan, US, and Thailand, Tsuburaya has the exclusive and legal rights to exploit Ultraman business thanks to the court judgment. There are no disputes in the use of Ultraman within Japan, so Tsuburaya has and always had the usage rights to Ultraman in Japan. US, as I just explained in the US trial section, has absolutely no rights to use any Ultraman in US. So Tsuburaya has all the rights here. Same for Thailand. Tsuburaya won the Supreme Court judgment in 2008. And has no rights to Ultraman as well. Also, as I mentioned before, Songbord was convicted 2 years in prison with probation for submitting false document to the court. In China, Tsuburaya has the exclusive and legal rights to exploit Ultraman business for the works from Ultraman Leo to any subsequent series and works. Because such works, these Leo to Taiga, do not fall within the scope of 1976 document. As for the classic series in China, unfortunately, due to China's Supreme Court judgment, UM and Songbord were granted to use classic Ultraman series, but of course, they were not granted copyrights to Ultraman. And also they were granted only limited rights to use classic Ultraman series, as the Chinese Supreme Court did not mention allowing UM and Songbord rights to adaptation nor the rights to produce derivative works from such classic Ultraman series. Which means Tsuburaya has a right to produce new works and also adaptations and produce other derivative works from classic Ultraman. This is the reason why we're exploiting Ultraman business in China, with such works as the latest Ultraman Taiga, Netflix Ultraman, and any other new adaptation works of Ultraman. As for the other countries, including Malaysia, although the ruling of US judgment has binding force only in the United States, we believe it is very influential in the sense that we were given the US court ruling, which is a highly recognized and most reliable judgment in the world. We are also convinced that our unanimous victory represents the genuineness of the fact, as the court required UM to pay damages for its infringement of Tsuburaya's rights and to pay over $4.5 million of our attorney's fees and litigation costs. Regardless of whether or not the 1970s document is valid, neither Songbord nor UM has any rights to exploit any Ultraman works other than the specific works identified in this document. This is because there's no dispute that no court has ever ruled that this document grants the right to create or exploit any new Ultraman works. UN President and Mr. Songbord's son, Persit, under oath in his testimony at the US trial in November 2017, admitted that he has no rights to adaptation. As when he was asked if he believes he has rights to adapt the works, he stated in the court, he said, "No, sir. I don't believe that I have. I believe what I was told when I was young, that we had adapted work, but according to the document, we had a discussion with my father. I believe it is something very in the gray zone, so let's leave it at the original work." These undisputed interpretations of the meaning of this 19th century document are supported by its plain language, which makes no reference whatsoever to transfer of any rights to create or distribute new or derivative Ultraman works. With our latest significant victory in the United States, the path has been cleared for Tsuburaya to greatly increase the presence of Ultraman worldwide. We're also receiving fascinating offers to produce Hollywood movie with Ultraman from major Hollywood studios. We're very sure that we will be able to bring many, many great news and entertainment to Malaysia and rest of the world in the near future. We would like to make a bold statement that Tsuburaya is the sole producer and sole copyright holder of all Ultraman works and characters. Okay, let's move on to explanation on seizing counterfeit products in Malaysia. It's very unfortunate, but as popularity grows, so do the counterfeit and infringed products spread across the market. Here, we would like to explain our ongoing actions against such infringed products. This is one example of latest action against infringed products. Last month, a total of about 150 public safety and related government personnel were dispatched by the relevant government agencies from Guangdong Public Security Bureau and Industry and Commerce Bureau and seized 2 manufacturing companies producing Ultraman series counterfeit and pirated goods in Guangdong, China. As a result, 6 factories, 2 warehouses, and 1 sale base were destroyed, and about 40,000 boxes of counterfeit toys were seized. Many of these products illegally exported to Southeast Asia, including here in Malaysia. By seizing these factories, we could stop these infringing products to come into the Malaysian market, or keep these kind of actions in China to keep the Malaysian market from getting contaminated with infringing products. Our approach to seize infringed products in Malaysia are by 2 methods, by digitally and by analog. In the digital stream, Tsuburaya has appointed e-infringement specialist company in Japan to eliminate counterfeit and infringed products on the internet, such as Lazada, in the Malaysian market. We will remotely monitor e-infringement and take actions against this kind of infringement from Japan. As for the analog stream, which applies to infringed products sold at physical market in Malaysia, such as toy stores, department stores, general stores, and black market. We have made partnership with Professional Service Office here in KL to support Tsuburaya and all our licensees in eliminating infringing products. I've heard that there's so many infringed products out here in the Malaysian market, and we're determined to eliminating such counterfeit products and bringing the real, authentic Ultraman products to this country. I would like to present how you can identify our authentic products and other infringed products. Basically, there are 3 things that we want you to look for in determining authentic products: Ultraman logo, certificate label, and copyright notation on the product's package. Here, authentic logos are on your left, and infringed logos are on the right of the screen. Infringed face logo has an image of dark and evil-looking Ultraman, and infringed name logo has kind of curvish outline as opposed to our authentic logos on your left of the screen. As for the certificate label, our label has our company name and our company's logo in the middle. As opposed to infringed certificate labels, they do not have our company name or a company logo, but uses Ultraman to make it look like an authentic licensor, but they're not. In the copyright notation, we don't use license to buy in any products. For the copyright notation of the infringed products, on your right, by describing this copyright, Tsuburaya Productions, they are admitting that copyrights belong to Tsuburaya. But we never received any request for permission from UM side to exploit Ultraman business. Is this the proper way to conduct licensed business? We don't think so. We won't tolerate this kind of act. As an effect of the US judgment, we have successfully taken down UN Party's Facebook and Instagram website, because these services are US-based services. They may argue that they have the right to exploit Ultraman business under the alleged 1970s document, but their exploitation of Ultraman can only be authorized if done so pursuant to permission from and a valid license agreement with us. But again, this has not been done. They have absolutely no right whatsoever to use our Ultraman works, characters, or any other thing that relates to Ultraman. We will not tolerate their activity and action in Malaysia, but we will keep taking all necessary steps to protect and secure Tsuburaya and all of our licensees' rights here in Malaysia. I would like to finish this presentation with a message to our fans and partners in Malaysia. To all Ultraman fans and business partners, we're grateful for the continued support and showing your love for Ultraman. We look forward to keeping bringing real Ultraman and many great news and entertainment to Malaysia. Thank you.
Okay guys, so we have watched the Ultraman conference. So what do you think with the problem of the Ultraman counterfeit merchandises? Yeah, and let me know in the comments what you think about the Tsuburaya plans for Ultraman upcoming 3 years plan, you know. And so remember to subscribe to my channel, like my video and share if you love it. Alright, thanks.